it's been fun, and there's been different challenges, and there's been different learning curves, and it's been just a really fun journey. I will say it's not boring. That's amazing. Nobody wants to be anywhere where it's stagnant and boring and dull and routine all the time. And one of the things that I love is there's always new ways to grow your business. There's new ways to get word out about what we're doing. I just talked with a prospect the other day, and she was surprised to learn that you can grow this business outside of Facebook, just Facebook alone, because that's how she heard of it. And she's never seen anybody in person. And then she didn't know about the other avenues of social media. So it's super exciting. So tonight we are going to talk specifically about Instagram. If you're of my generation, when I started It Works, we did not have Instagram. And so it's been a learning curve for me. Isn't that crazy, right? Honestly, I'd only been on Facebook for about 6 months prior to joining up with the company. So it's just been a learning curve. And so if you're a little apprehensive about it, the cool thing is we're always learning. We're always evolving. It is not too late for you. It's not going anywhere. So you can learn it. If you've been doing it for a while and you have something to contribute, I would love to hear your feedback as well. The cool thing is not only is there a lot of different ways to grow the business, but people have different strategies and different techniques within each way of growing their business. And that just makes it really fruitful when we can share and collaborate with one another. So I've got 2 amazing guests on tonight that have had some success with Instagram. They're super fun, super successful. You'll see exactly why I asked them to be on tonight. But they're going to share their tips. And so maybe if it's something that you've tried before or is working for you, or there's a tweak, feel free to comment in the chat section. And that way we can all learn and we can grow from one another. So one of the things that when you're on social media in general, and you can really hone in tonight with Instagram, is some questions to ask yourself. Like, before we just start mindlessly posting and start, getting on and not really maybe having a direction if we're using this in a business sense, think about some of the things that you want. Do you want to improve, or do you want to maintain a certain reputation for yourself? Is there some image that you're trying to portray? Because here's what's cool. You can be that person. You can put that out there. Now, I'm not saying be totally fake, but what I'm saying is if there's an aspect of your personality that you feel like you don't hone in on because life and craziness and family and whatever, but there's something about you, share it and, kind of like hone in on that. Think about the reputation and the name that you want to be known for. Do you want to use it to raise brand awareness? I hope that's something that we all want to do, is raise brand awareness with our products and the health and wellness piece and the looking younger, all of those components that come with our business. Do you want to just educate and share knowledge? Sometimes people will find that if you have a little niche about something, you can incorporate that in with your business to keep people coming to you. So if you love, I don't know, if you're an artist, right? One of my daughter's teachers, he makes metal sculptures and he travels all around the state and sells these metal sculptures. So if that was something like a skill of yours, you could maybe post that intermittently on your Instagram. So that way people that are interested and have that common thing with you, they would be drawn back, or maybe they would just be drawn back just by your talent alone, and they would just want to keep coming back. And then that's how you can drip on them with your Instagram. Then, of course, there's lead generation, there's sales generation, so customers and distributors, that type of a thing, and just trying to captivate your audience. And so that's what we're going to kind of get in today a little bit. So if you're kind of old school, and we're going to kind of systematically break it down. There's a couple nuances and differences between Facebook. And honestly, it's one of the reasons that I got scared to start. I felt really intimidated. Did anybody else feel like a little overwhelmed, a little intimidated when they start thinking about Instagram? I don't know, it's just too much, it's overwhelming, okay? I get it, I totally get it. Here's the cool thing. We can make it systematic. We can dive into this and we don't have to be afraid of it. If you're on social media, it's just different platforms. They're just displaying it differently. I like to think about Facebook, we have a feed. Instagram, you have a feed, right? And the girls are going to talk a little bit more about when and how often to post. But I feel like sometimes that we have relied on Facebook and it feels more social to us because that's what we've been on. That's all. It's just a familiarity thing. It's just a It's just something, it's comfortable. It's like an old pair of jeans, you don't not too sure about the new outfit until you wear it a few times and then you realize you love it, right? So that's kind of how Instagram is starting to grow on me. But they both have a feed, and then they both have the stories. And so if you think about it that way, then you can see a lot of similarities between the two. And you can use your Instagram account a little bit differently than you can with your Facebook account, which we'll get into. So the demographics on Instagram are a titch younger, which I find great. And I'm not saying that none of us old people are not on Instagram, but there are. And that's cool. And I see older people. Some people are really utilizing and dialing into it, right? But I'm seeing some of this younger generation because this is their thing. My daughter's almost 14. And anybody that has, kind of those teenager kids, you could probably testify to that they're not on Facebook, they're on Instagram. They're on Instagram or Snapchat. They're on different social media platforms. So what's really great about this is you are going to target a whole new demographics. So don't be intimidated. Like if you're like, that's not really like, those are not my cohorts. That's not my age group. That's not my demographics. It is. It's just slightly different, and you can capitalize and you can utilize that as well. So you're going to have those different things. Okay, so one of the things that I want to talk into first is the big difference that was very intimidating to me was the picture quality. Okay, I felt very intimidated. I feel like I still will catch myself asking somebody like my daughter to take a picture, and I'll go, no, make it like an Instagram pic. Right? Make it like a certain angle and we got to bleach it and make it an Instagram photo. Not like just a Facebook, like, hey, this is me. But, put me in my glory for Instagram. So there's some tools for that. There's some things that you can use to really kind of to hone in on the Instagram thing. And I don't think Nicole even jumped on. Lori, I think it might, we're gonna put the pressure on you, but so let me introduce my first guest then. I was gonna wait for Nicole here, but I've got Lori Conway on, and I think you can unmute yourself, right? I can. Oh, I gotcha. Wait, I gotcha. Okay. All right, perfect. So Lori Conway has been with this company for 7 years. You started a year after me?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Lori's amazing. She's one of my besties, and she is an ambassador diamond, top money earner with the company from her inception. And she has, I think like me, she has really self-taught herself Instagram. Just amazing. I'm always going to her and asking her questions. So one of the things, you have great pictures. Like you have very fun and like they pull you in. What kinds of things are you using for your pictures for the qualities? Because I know that there's so many different apps and filters. There's presets. There's so many things we can do to doctor our picture. Like how do you approach all of that?
Oh my gosh, it's such a great question. Okay, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me on tonight. I was one of those that was really scared of Instagram, and so I kind of shied away from it. And I thought, gosh darn it, about 6-8 months ago, I said I'm going to replace my Facebook app on my phone. I actually took it off for a quick minute, and then I put my Instagram down here instead of my Facebook for my quick responses, because I thought if I'm ever going to learn this, I'm going to have to push myself to learn it, because I became comfortable. I grew my business very belly, and I grew my business on Facebook primarily after that. And I started to realize, like, if I don't become a student all over again and continue to be a student, I'm going to expire. And I've got to always be learning, because social media is so rapidly changing. When I think I have it now, it may not be like that in a few months. So we really have to got to try to change our mentality. I had to change my mentality and say, I don't have this all figured out. And maybe, Nikki, maybe you think I've been top earner from inception or whatever, but it takes a lot of work to get there, right? You're there too. It takes a lot of work to get there, but it also takes some work to maintain that and to lead by example in that. And so you have to always have the mindset of you are willing to learn, you're willing to be coachable, you're willing to try new things, to be innovative, because things are changing, ladies and gentlemen. Technology changes in a hot second. And so I was listening to a podcast just this morning in the shower. Yes, I had my phone in the shower with me. And I was listening to a podcast from Rachel Hollis. I'm sure you're all in love with her, right? I am too. And I shared it on our team page. And she said, hey, I'm going to teach you what I know about Instagram. right now, but I can't guarantee that's going to be the same in 6 months. So take it now and run with it. And so I want you to take that tonight and hear this from Nikki and I. Take the information that we're giving to you and run with it right now. Don't wait on it, because there are times in my It Works career that I wish I would have just, even though I didn't understand it, I would have just jumped in. You know, there's some regret there of just not jumping in. And when I finally took that Facebook app away on my phone as my quick app and replaced it with my Instagram app, I started to learn it. I started to become a student. I started to envelop myself in it until I learned what I was doing. And I started to love it. I started to love it more than Facebook. Okay, so pictures. You would ask me a question. I am going to answer your question, I promise you. It can be very overwhelming. And in fact, I was doing some training today, just again, being a student, on YouTube on how to use certain apps to do presets and things like that. I do not currently use presets. I'm not saying that I never will. I'm something that I'm learning and being a student on. But one app that I will definitely recommend for you guys is, well, first and foremost, you can take a lot of pictures just in natural sunlight. Like, look at your surroundings, step outside, not in the direct sunlight, but sunlight that's coming towards you. You know, I've heard crazy things of, like, you know, taking your phone and tying the blind string around your pop socket to get a good picture, and using your whatever this thing is called, your watch, to be able to take the picture. You know, I haven't done things like that, but I'm not opposed to it. So there are ways that you can do things without having a professional camera. You can take pictures, or have your kids, like Nikki was just saying, take a picture of me this way. I know it sounds crazy, but just tell them, hey, this is part of my job, and I want you to be in this with me. So let's take some pictures together, and take some pictures together with your child. So there are ways that you can do it in natural lighting, and ways that you can do it without all these fancy apps. But I'm telling you, invest in an app, because an app is going to make your life so much easier to tweak these photos a little bit. My favorite app right now, Nikki, is PicTapGo. And I use that because you can create recipes. They call them recipes, which are just like presets to be able to use for all your pictures. So if you have a certain formula that you kind of played around with, you can filter upon filter upon filter. And if you find one that you really, really like, save it as a recipe, so to speak. So that way, when you're taking your pictures and you create your camera roll of favorites that you're going to use, then you can go back and you can utilize that app or that recipe to be able to tweak all your photos that way. And so that's the quickest, most efficient way that I've been able to edit my photos. But again, I'm still learning, and I think there are more ways to do it, but don't overwhelm yourself. I think the idea is just get started.
Yep, sorry, I muted myself because I am taking, I'm typing in some pic apps for people so that they can just see them. Yeah, and I agree with you. Now, Lori taught me a trick, and you probably don't even remember this, because how many times do we do something and then people think, oh my gosh, you're genius, and then we forget about doing it ourselves? I don't even know you still do it. But Lori, okay, this was 2 years ago, but was it 2 years ago for your birthday? Yeah, but Lori was taking pictures in her Snapchat and using Snapchat filters and just using the pretty filter and then saving them. So do you still do that, or do you kind of like stray away from that?
I do.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I do, but understand that your picture quality may be a little lower, you know, if you're going to do that. But it's such a great way, you all, because I'll wake up in the morning and I want to do like a, I call it skinny coffee or keto coffee tutorial, and I look like HE double hockey sticks, right? I look like a mama of four that hasn't slept for days and had snow day up on snow day up on snow day after holidays. And so I use a fun little filter app for that. And sometimes it's a fun little bunny ears. I mean, kind of silly, but it grabs people's attention, and it's great for your stories. Mm-hmm. So maybe not so much for your Instagram feed, because you really want to focus on more quality pictures that way. Mm-hmm. But load up your stories this way, you all, because it creates creativity. It creates just something different. It's not just your normal face, it creates some fun.
Yeah, that's perfect. So, and we'll talk about the differences between those two. I mean, I feel like it's like a whole can of worms, Instagram, but it's, so yeah,
totally is.
It's crazy. So, so we have PicTapGo, which you can use to edit it, create some pretty filters, soften lines, that kind of a thing, make it more vibrant, make it more bright. There's lots of things, make it black and white, do that whitewash, bleach look, whatever you want to go for. So PicTapGo, and then some other apps that we've been utilizing too. is to kind of create some fun stories, to create some fun posts is Unfold.
Yes.
Unfold is a great one. That's super fun. And Lori showed me, I was using just the one that came with it, but then I did buy a couple of the other packs for like $2, one for 99 cents. Totally worth it. Can be used in your stories a lot.
Yeah. And I would say on that too, don't get overwhelmed. They're like, oh, I got to buy apps. You really don't. I mean, you can use a lot of these for free, you guys. And again, I'm going to go back to, let's keep it simple. There are things that you can do to improve. Like I need to improve my game now that I've learned it a little bit, right? I need to learn a little bit more. I want to continue to push myself to be better at it tomorrow than I was today. But if you're just starting, just start somewhere. Like don't overwhelm yourself thinking that you have to filter things 50 times to be able to post something. Just post and it will come.
Yeah,
yeah. Unfold is one of my favorites.
Yeah. So there's lots of things out there. So I've got Pick Tap Go, Unfold, Canva, Pick Art, Word Swag, and then there's an app called We Heart It, which is free. You can go to Pexels. I've got this all in the text here, and Pixabay. Those are for some like generic stock photos. So maybe if you want a picture of red juice for like our collagen or our immunity, or if you want some of those pretty like coffee pictures with the heart, you know how they make the lattes with the heart on the top. If you want pictures like that for some posts, you can go to these other apps and you can download them for free, and they're free generic photos. So that's something else that you can have too for picture quality. So while we're talking about pictures, let's talk a little bit about the differences, which I think is super overwhelming, between your wall or your feed and your stories. What do we even call that? Like, is it our wall? I mean, I think of it like Facebook, that similarity, but I feel this pressure at times, and I have got to let go of it to make your wall so beautiful. And that's where people will talk about these presets. And a preset is nothing more than like a recipe on Pick Tap Go. You can create a recipe so you have that same filter for every picture. You'll notice some people, you'll go to their wall and it will be all that same tone, you know, like all whitewashed or all bright or all black and white, you know, because they're basically looking at this wall, at their wall of their photos, as like this big canvas and a big overview. Where when we think about Facebook, we think about individual. We have some pretty and some sloppy. But I think because of the way that it's showcased, people will have a greater presentation for that. So let's talk about the wall. What kind of photos do you focus on for your wall?
That's a really great question. And I will say, like, I've heard people call it like their 3 square or their 9 square, because like what you see on there is like just those few pictures. So if you have something on there, try to look at it from evaluate it from a third party perspective of like, hey, would I follow you? Would I want to engage with you? And some things that I really like to post, and you can kind of see here, some things that I really like to post is people need to see your face, even though if you're not like all about loving selfies, you need to figure that out, and you need to make sure that you're showing your face. And I want you to shy away from posting any stock photos. Stock photos are not going to be something that is going to give you engagement. So one thing that the podcast I was listening to today really talked about was honing on the 5 things that define you or describe you for social media, because you have a very limited window of opportunity for people to say, oh, that's cute, I'm going to like that, or I'm going to follow her, or I'm going to engage with her, I'm going to make a comment. Okay. You have literally like a couple of seconds as they're scrolling through their feed to say, am I going to stop and look at that? Am I going to like it? Am I just going to comment? Or am I going to keep scrolling by? And you want to be able to capture the most algorithms possible on Instagram. And by doing that, you've got to increase your likes. You got to increase your comments. You got to increase your visibility. So the 5 things that describe you would be something like this. Like for me, I feel like I'm always redefining myself. I know Nikki and I were just talking about this the other day. Like, what are my 5? You know, like, why I got into this business is the reason I'm still in this business. So maybe you are kind of redefining yours, and maybe this might help you. But my 5 are like my family. I'm going to post about my husband and I doing our Tuesday date days. And I'm going to post about being home with my kids and loving this business that provides that for me. I'm going to talk about my fur babies. I mean, it's crazy, but I love my dogs. Okay. They're like my family. So I'm talking about my fur babies. I'm going to post cute pictures of them. enjoying life with them. I'm going to talk about being a mompreneur. You know, I'm going to talk about being that entrepreneur of a woman that says, hey, whatever life you live, you can actually make money while doing your life. You can actually make money while you're home with your kids. You can actually make money when your kids grow up and are driving you crazy because they got all these different activities everywhere. You can actually make money in your car. And I'm going to show you how to make money in that car rider line. So that's something that I'm going to post. I'm going to talk about being a Christian because that is a really big thing for me. My faith is huge for me. So I'm going to do quotes, Bible verses, things like that, that are going to portray that. I'm going to talk about home decor. I love home decor. I love decorating for the holidays. I'm going to start incorporating that into my stories more, showing people that I'm not just, it works. I'm not just trying to sell them something. You know, there's a book, and I haven't read it yet, and maybe you have, Nikki, but the Jab, Jab, Right Hook by, I can't think of his name right now, but he's really a big, kind of a big deal right now. But anyway, Jab, Jab, Right Hook. And it talks about how, I know the kind of the Cliff Notes version of the book. I just need to read it. But basically it talks about how so many of us are going for the jab every time by asking people to join, asking people to try our products, asking people to do things, call to action, call to action, call to action. They stop following you. They stop engaging with you because they're like, oh gosh, if I like this post, she's going to ask me to do this. She's going to ask me to do that. And yes, we're asking people, but we need to make it a point that 75% of our posts should be not call to action. 75% of our posts should be giving stuff away for free. 75% of our posts should be off those 5, you know, that the home decor that I love. I'm going to help you to make your home look beautiful without, you know, within your budget. You know, I'm going to start telling my followers things that are going to be helpful for them in their everyday life before I'm ever going to ask them to buy my coffee, if that makes sense. So I'm going to give them all kinds of great information before I'd ever ask them to do anything for me. And so that's something that I'm going to be posting about now on my highlight reel or my squares, my 9 square, whatever you call it, your feed. You're going to see a lot of my face, my family, my dogs, quotes, but I'm never going to put like a quote together. You know what I mean? I think we have to be mindful of when we go back and we look at our Instagram that it's pleasing to the eye, because here's the thing, Facebook doesn't have to be like pleasing to the eye because you don't see all the pictures at once, but this is very picture driven. This is very like aesthetically driven. It has to be aesthetically pleasing to the eye for people to stop and check out what you're doing. So if I ever think, oh my gosh, I made these 2 letterboard quotes and they're right together, you know, then delete it, repost it another time. You know, so you have to be looking at it from a business perspective of being intentional about it. And we've got to get real here, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to make money. We're not here just to play on social media. So if you want to play on social media, great, fine, but don't be expecting to earn a paycheck from that. You've got to be intentional about what you're posting, intentional about when you're posting, intentional about what you are doing to build your reputation, what you're doing to sell yourself, because people are going to buy your lifestyle before they buy any product that you have. And if you're jabbing them or you're right hooking them, you're not jabbing them, you're right hooking them every time you talk to them, they're going to run from you. So you've got to learn how to jab, jab, right hook. You've got to be able to sit 75% of your time loving them, giving them stuff for free, giving them advice on keto, giving them advice on whatever your 5 are, and really honing in on that relationship. And then you're going to right hook it, and they're going to be sold because they're sold on you already. So it's all about lifestyles, not products. So I will say this even goes for their Facebook. If you are sharing posts 24/7 and all your feed is just share this, share that, this joke, that joke. And I think I was telling you this the other day too, Nikki, like I every once in a while will do fake tree, real tree, but that's not gonna drive business to me. It's just gonna drive a little bit of engagement. It's just fun, right? So we've got to make sure that we are definitely pulling them into our life, making them want to wake up and come to our stories to look at what we're doing for the day. And it's so funny, you didn't ask this, but I'm going to tell you. It's so funny that sometimes I'll go through host to post and I'll start asking people to post for me, and people say no all the time. They do. So just FYI, they'll say no. But when they do, it's funny because they'll say, you know what, though, I still want to follow you because I absolutely love what you're posting. I absolutely am inspired by your stories every day. I can't stop watching them. So for me, that's good enough. They don't have to host a post for me because before long, I'm going to right hook them, and they're going to get my team. They're going to buy my coffee. They're already loving what I'm doing. They're just taking it in right now.
Yes. See why we wanted to have her on tonight. I love it. I love the enthusiasm. And it's so true. And I love how you talk about that 75% content, right? Because, and it is the highlight reel. I mean, I've had people say that to us too. And, oh my gosh, I'm so envious of this or that, or your family, or you're this. And it's like, well, I don't show you when we wake up and none of us are talking to each other. We don't post that. And if you are posting it, again, please don't. Let's use this as a business platform.
Here's the thing. Like, I think there's a time and a place for that. And I can't remember. I'm going to scroll back up.
In a very constructive way, I think, but not in a
doggy
way.
There was somebody that posted something funny on here. Basically, your stories are your hot mess of a life. And like the real kind of snapshot of what's going on every day. And your feed is really the highlight reel of what you want to sell yourself on. Yeah. So that's like your professional picture, whereas like your stories are more like you're in the moment, and maybe today's not a makeup day, but you're still going live and you're still showing people that, hey, I'm just a person.
Perfect segue. Yes. So the difference between that and then your stories, and I do feel like stories are a little bit more authentic. I feel that they're not as polished, and I don't know that people are expecting them to be as polished. I feel like one of the things that I think I've talked about with you, maybe Lori, is the younger generation too. Now, my Brinley is a bit of the younger. She doesn't have a job, so she doesn't count too much right now. But, I am seeing more rawness in people's pictures. Yeah. I'm seeing less of the Instagram, the polish, the perfection, the pose, the social, the social media, the social influencer type things, right? I'm seeing less of that with some of these younger people, and they just want like that real quick snap raw. She showed me some pictures of her friends, and it truly reminded me of us in the 80s and 90s when we would take pictures of our friends and we would have to go get the film developed to see what it looked like. You know what I mean? There was no retake and deleting it and filtering it. It was like you get your pictures back and you were happy with them. I'm seeing that a little bit more, so I feel like that's a little bit more applicable to the stories. So on top of being more raw and being more real, we got lots of cool things we can do with our stories, right? So we don't always want to hook them.
Oh my gosh.
But we've got stories that we can create 3, 4, 5, 6 in sequence, and then we can follow up with that. You want to talk about stories?
Yeah, please. I love stories. I feel like that's what reeled me in back into Instagram, because I went Snapchat for a long time. I wasn't really pulling in a lot of business that way, but it was a lot of fun to be able to just interact with people. And I feel like Instagram gave us that. And so I was really excited to see stories for sure, because I like to be here on the now. I like to be able to see and interact with people. And so for me, I wake up looking forward to posting on my stories. I live my life. I vlog, if you will, on my stories. You're going to find out all about my day from my stories. And I do little things like, as far as making my coffee in the morning, getting my kids off to school, making them breakfast. I just show that I'm a real person, a real mom. And maybe even show my struggles for the day. Like, I got this massive zit on my face. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll show that and say, oh my gosh, like, I'm not a teenager anymore. I turned 40 this year and I'm still dealing with this. Those are things I think that are awesome, because it relates people back to you. And I know we want to look polished, so to speak, but you have to be yourself too. So if that's not you, then don't try to be somebody else that you're not. So stories for me, I find the most helpful. And I learned this from Erin Tweed, and I'll give her credit for this. And it has changed my game on Instagram. She said to me, Laura, you've got to start telling your story more. I know you think everybody knows your story, but you got to find a way to be able to share your story in different ways. Share it in pictures, share it in a 15-second, Instagram reason why you're home with your kids. So thankful I said yes to this business 7.5 years ago. I am able to be home with my kids for the second snow day in a row without asking a boss off from work. Things like that, 15 seconds. Sharing your story through pictures, I think, is so incredibly important. And I think for me, that was a game changer, because when she said that to me just about 6 weeks ago, I started running my story. I have different versions of my story that I run on my Instagram stories about 3 to 4 times a week, about every every other day I run my story. And I give people an opportunity, instead of doing a poll with those stories of like yes or no or whatever, at the end I'll say message the word change for more information. So I'll have a call to action, yes. And I'll have a word where they actually reach out to me. So that a way, when they're reaching out to me, that's a pretty legit potential. It's not somebody that I'm just writing down hoping that they didn't accidentally vote on my poll. We've all had that. Like, I accidentally voted. I don't know what you're talking about. No, they're actually reaching out to you with the word that you put, the call to action word that you put. And I love it because I have used the Unfold app, and it's free. You don't even have to buy any more with it. And I just put pictures of my family, and I put milestones of my business. And I've just told them from a third party perspective. So I don't talk about myself. I talk about myself as she, maybe I joined this business and I was able to do this, but she did this. And then casting a vision of where I'm going. So it's not that I've done all these amazing things. Look at me. No, it's I've done things that have changed my family's life. But now I'm looking for moms that were just like me, that were knee-high in diapers and laundry. Is that you? Because if that's you, I want to help you earn some Christmas cash, and being able to relate it back to them. So stories are so incredibly important to tell your story. And you've got to be able to just take a pen and paper. I don't care if you're brand new into this journey, this business is changing your life in some way. So write down what those are, take 3 to 4 pictures, create a little story for you. And the biggest tip that I can give to you as far as posting these stories is do it late at night. Sometimes I won't go to bed till midnight. I'll post them till midnight because it's almost like I get 2 full days out of that story then, because they're waking up in the morning and it's the first thing that they see, right? And then they're going to bed at night. It's the last thing that they see. Does that make sense? And so you want to talk about where you were when you started, what you've accomplished. Maybe that's gas money, and that's huge. Maybe that's grocery money, that's huge. Maybe that's redreaming, that's huge. Talk about where you are and then where you're headed. Cast a vision of where you're headed.
Perfect. I love the stocking up, so to speak, at night. And that's a habit that I have been trying to get myself into, and I would say I'm good at, like 5 out of 7 nights I'm good at it. So that's an improvement for sure. But I just feel like stories are one of those things, they don't have to be empty. Because we can take that and we can load up 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 pictures if we want to. I will typically load about 10 to 12 if I can. That would be like my optimal. And then we can add to it throughout the day so that it gets big. Some stories I have clicked on and the little things are so short. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think they've probably got 40 things loaded up. Those ones get a little bit too much. For me, I feel like that's a little bit too much. But I don't know. I feel like, what do you think would be a happy medium to have loaded? Like a 12 to 18? I don't know. I feel like somewhere in that ballpark would be not too overwhelming, but enough content as long as you have things going on. But some days you're not going to.
Yeah, I think it all depends. And I think as a viewer, if you're not going out and watching your story, you need to watch your story. Like I do that. I watch my story, put my volume on, and listen to me talk. If it's boring to me and I'm swiping through them, then it's boring to your viewer. You need to be putting content out there, even through your stories, that people want to engage with. And so if you are business, product, remember you are trying to right hook every time and you're going to lose people's interest. But if you're in there telling them information they want to know, if you're telling them information that they want to be engaged with, you are sharing part of your story, not your product that you're selling, but what it's done for you. What has this product done for you? What has this business done for you? And what can it do for them? That's when people get hooked, and that's when people want to watch. So I don't know if there's an optimal number. I am probably an overdoer of stories, and I post maybe 1 to 2 times on Instagram a day. And I think that's really important too, that we post every day. If you're on this Zoom, you are interested in making money. Okay. So stop being lackadaisical about not posting on your social media. Get it together and post on social media. I know you have busy days. I have busy days too. Nikki has busy days. Do not let a day go by where you are not posting. And there are tools and apps to be able to help you with that too. One of them that I just found, I have to share with you really, really quickly. and I haven't used it yet, but I'm so excited about it. It's called Planoly, Planoly. It's an absolutely free app, Planoly. It's an absolutely free app that allows you to plan out your Instagram. What if y'all, if we took one day and took an hour and planned all of our Instagram posts, and those Instagram posts could actually feed over, don't feed them by sharing them, but repost them to Facebook. What if you just took 1 hour on a Sunday and planned out your week? You are a business owner. You are responsible. It's funny because my son was helping me send out some Instagram messages today, which is something if you got older kids, they can copy and paste. But he said to me, would you rather have a regular job where you get paid per hour or a commissions job, Mom? I said, well, I'm commissions, right? He said, oh, yeah, I know, but I'm just asking you the question. I said, commissions, because I get to pay myself what I'm worth. Mm-hmm. I get to work hard and pay myself a higher salary than a person that just works a 9-to-5 job and gets an hourly wage. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to do my very best. So I'm saying this to say this. I'm saying that to say this. I'm saying if you show up and you plan your week and you're intentional, y'all, the stars are going to be aligned for you. You're going to have the bull by its horns, and you're going to start seeing people come to you. You're going to start seeing people want to join your business, be interested in your product, simply because you're showing up every day. You're consistent with it. You're excited with it. So take an hour on a Sunday, an hour. That's all I'm asking is an hour, and make 7 posts. And put them in this Planoly app, or put it in your notes and use it and be organized.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, that is a bare minimum, right? We typically, we take our Sundays. I like to take Sundays to prep anyways. I like to prep my house. I like to prep everything on Sundays and just have it all ready. And we have a power hour every Sunday night. Our team does at 9:00 every Sunday, and hopes to kind of get the ball rolling for the week and get those pieces flowing. So perfect. So speaking of apps, let's talk really quickly. Oh my gosh, I'm thank you so much for sharing so much. You guys, it's not even like Nicole not to show up. So let's just say a quick little prayer that everything is okay with her, and maybe she fell asleep. That's what I'm hoping. So, because it's not like her to do this.
I could talk. Hey, listen, I could talk for 8 more hours. So,
okay, good. We're so good. Okay, so let's get into followers and who you're following, and some apps to support that as well. Since we're already talking about things that are going to help us move forward with that. So,
I know some people are afraid of follow apps. If you're using them properly, you don't need to be afraid of them. If you're abusing them, you do need to be afraid of them, because they may shut your Instagram account down. So don't abuse them. Just use them for what they're worth. But I have a Captivate app that I use, and I run it 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I run it on people that I already follow or want to follow. So these are going to be like Tony Robbins, as an example, is never going to follow me back. So I may not follow him, but I can captivate, and I can use the Captivate app to capture all of his followers. Does that make sense? And I can start following those people that are like-minded. I'm going to look for home decorating gurus on Instagram because I want to try to capture the people that I have interest with. Think about the 5 things that describe you and start looking for people that are going to, I love music. Music is one of my biggest things. It's not one of my 5 that I showcase on Instagram, but Natalie Grant is one of my very favorite Christian artists. She has an amazing Instagram story each and every day that I love to follow. And so I'm going to capture people that are following her, because those are my kind of people. Those are going to be people that I can relate with, right? And so I would use Captivate. It is a free app, but if you want to pay 99 cents, they have a cloud version, which allows you to be able to follow people at night when you're sleeping. And so right now I ran that overnight, so it should be almost done this evening. So I'll double check it. But I'm already up 53 brand new followers today alone. Okay. So if I do that 3 days a week, then I'm going to probably on average get about 150 people of new followers each and every week, if I do that 3 times a week. And then I'm going to take an opportunity on those off days. Okay. This is if you're trying to up your Instagram game and get your followers up. I'm going to take those off days when I'm not using Captivate, and I have an unfollow app. Now I know Captivate has their unfollow app, but I love my unfollow app, so I'm not using that one. But there are other apps to use this. But unfollow is the one that I love. And it allows me to be able to unfollow people that are not following me back. Okay, so there's a good ratio of followers versus following. You never want to have more that you're following than followers. And I know that sounds kind of like, well, that's dumb, but it's true. Because people are going to come to your account, they're going to be like, oh, well, I don't need to follow her. She's public and she's got, she's following 8,000 people and only has 2,000 people following her or whatever. So, it does not as appealing. So you need to up your game with it. Okay. As selfish as that sounds, you need to start making sure that you're unfollowing people that are not following you back. Okay. And what you need to do is have a ratio of, I don't know really what that ratio is, but say 80 to 20%, ideally. So right now I'm running, I think 11,300 followers that I worked really, really hard for, guys, really, really hard for a long time using Captivate and taking care of my followers. And I am unfollowing people, and I think I have about 5,000. So my ratio is still a little higher, but that's okay because I'm gaining new followers, and eventually I'm going to start weeding the ones out that are not active on their Instagram accounts. So those are the apps that I use for that, and I think it's, again, an intentionality thing. You have to set up for your week and think Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll follow. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I'm going to unfollow, and just set up a system that works for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's perfect. So here's a good question. First of all, Lindsay, great idea talking about one day a week to kind of prep your posts. When you're having a great hair and makeup day, yes, take a bunch of pictures. Go in the house and change your clothes. Or I see some of these high followed Instagram people. I'm looking at their photos. I'm like, oh girl, she already wore that outfit. You know what I mean? I'm just they do it, they utilize it, or they just change their shirt, right?
Because they're just as real life. They're just as real life as we are. We do not have it together each and every day. We like to think that we do, but we do not. And so one greatest tip that I heard from Rachel Hollis too is, hey, you should, if you have a good moment where you're getting a great picture, take 5 of those pictures. Take it from all different angles. Take it up close. Take it from, take a portrait view. If you have that kind of camera that blurs everything out, take it from different angles. Take a picture with it. Do 5 different pictures with it and save it to your favorites in your camera roll. So that way when you're creating your post every week, then you have 5 pictures, and you may not use 5 of those pictures back to back to back, but you have 5 weeks worth. Does that make sense? From one picture.
Yeah, so exactly.
Every Monday you're going to post a version of that picture, and you're going to change up your verbiage a little bit.
Yeah. So it's great. So throw on a different cardigan too. Throw on a scarf. Accessorize. You can make that happen so easy. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So then, unfortunately, Cece, I think that to talk about how to use these specific apps would require a whole new call.
Yeah. So what I would recommend on that, because I didn't know how to either, I just YouTubed it, how to use Captivate. And there's there's one tutorial on there that had a ton of views for in 2 minutes. And it's a 2-minute tutorial. I'm like, oh, I got this. Sometimes I'm a very visual learner, so I like to see that. So I would use YouTube for that, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And see, it only allows you to follow. It only allows you to follow so many at a time. So I never try to push it further. The app cuts you off. You can go in and change it. I never go in and change anything. I just let the app require what it requires.
For the abusing it piece, is that what you're talking about? Somebody said, how do you know if you're abusing those apps, right? Yeah. And the other thing is too is, so I have, if I have people loaded up that are following, I'm not going to go in and unfollow people at the same time, because Instagram is going to be like, how is she following overlapping?
Yeah. So if it's your follow day, you cannot unfollow.
Yes. Yep.
Because it will lock you out.
So that's why Lori has 3 days that she's following people, she's running it, and then on those off days, that's when she's unfollowing it. So it still looks like it's a person doing it. Now, there's still some people that are manually going through and just following.
You can totally do that.
While you're watching a movie, right? While you're spending time, just hanging out at whatever, downtime, if you have a favorite show, This Is Us or something, right? Do it when you're doing that. That's fine too. And then unfollow at that point. So I do that too, Lindsay. I just have it on the cloud and I have it do it when I'm sleeping. So
it's so worth $1.99 or whatever. It's like game changer for me. I was like, oh, good night.
yeah, absolutely. Yes.
I could actually sleep and work at the same time.
Making money while I sleep. Yes. So, all right. So, okay. So we talked about, so then the following and the unfollowing. So 10,000, that's our goal, right?
You know why?
Tell us why.
It changed the game for me. Cause now, have you ever been like following somebody on Instagram? You're like, swipe up for a link. How does that work? You all, when you get 10,000 followers, you can use the swipe up version. So like, oh gosh, I got so many amazing things about this. So I did a video, okay? And it was like a minute and a half of just saying, hey, it's my second snow day. We have, you know, an opportunity here that allows us to be able to stay home with our kids. Just very candid video, right? And I used another app, so don't get overwhelmed, Cut Story, because then it takes your 15-second intervals and then downloads it into Instagram for you, okay? Anyway, so I did that, and at the very end of it, I said, swipe up for my $20 code, okay? So what it's going to do is I'm going to be able to link. I put my Linktree app on there. If you don't use Linktree, oh my gosh, use it. I didn't understand it for a while. This has been game changing for me too. Linktree is it's a free website that links your It Works website, and then you can set it up. I'll show you what it looks like here. If you can find it. It's set it up to where people can like click like here we go. Can you see that? Or is it too, can you see it?
Oh, kind of. There we go.
Can you see it? Okay, so this is Linktree, and then you can just like click, it says build your own legacy. So I'm gonna click this. And look, guys, it goes right to my website. And you know what is even the best news is Facebook and Instagram do not block it. So I have it on my Instagram profile. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's on there.
I do not use this yet.
Oh, Nikki. Okay, listen. I've been doing host to post on Instagram this month. And Instagram alone this month, I've signed, I think, 19 loyal customers just in November. Mm-hmm. And every one of those customers has signed themselves up. And I'm like old school, like, I'll take your information. I'll do it for you. I just been sending them that Linktree link and saying, go to my Skinny Cut, the new Skinny Coffee. Click there. Here's the steps to order. And it's made all the difference. All the difference. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so you want to get to 10,000 followers because then you can swipe up and then put your Linktree website in there and send them to where you want to go. So like my thing said, swipe up, what did it say? Swipe up, click on create your own legacy. Because I have like little words for them. Like create your own legacy. Click there to create your own legacy. So you want 10,000 followers because it gives you those extra options.
Yes.
So that was my goal.
Yes.
And it's awesome.
And I feel like it's Insta credibility. You know, because we're all like, oh wow, they have a lot of followers. Like, what are they doing? What are they sharing? Like, I need to watch them too, right? So perfect.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah. In fact, I was doing messages for host to post, and someone said, how'd you get so many followers? I said, I worked really, really hard. Hey, listen, I'm not giving all my tricks away to just randoms if they're not posting for me.
Right. Yeah. You're like, it's $20 and I'll tell you how to do it.
That's right. Join my business and I'll coach you.
That's right. It's like, I think somebody else had like way back when, like, ooh, I like your shirt. How much was that? It's $99. Join my team and I'll buy you that Works t-shirt.
Love it.
All right. So we got 9 minutes left. I'm so glad that you brought up host to post. Okay. I'm super impressed. Like, we're good. Your segues are just like perfect. So
it's almost like we planned it. Like
almost. So really quickly, ways to engage. A couple things that people are like, oh, how do I, what do I do? So you want to like and comment on other people's stuff too. We want to have an engagement. Nobody's going to follow you back, have a conversation with you if they're just talking to a wall.
Right. Right. So every time I get a comment on anything, and I granted, I don't like the way Instagram sets up their notifications. I don't see them all, but every time I see one, you always have got to comment back. If they're going to take the time to comment on your stuff, you have to comment back. You have to like it. You have to comment it. You have to realize that you have to be posting every day, because Instagram algorithms are very much like Facebook. If you are not commenting back or liking their post or whatever, then they're going to say, oh, well, she must not like that. We're not going to push that out anymore. You've got to start making sure that you're engaging back.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking, some of these people, I noticed some of these people have accounts and they have tons of followers, but I look at their pictures and I'm like, there is zero engagement. And then other people, I'll look, they have high engagement, but maybe not as many followers. And so, yeah, so I think that I would rather have more engagement than just the eyes, right? I want people to have that authenticity with me. So make sure that you're engaging with people. You can, if they're watching your stories, make sure that you can go back through and you can watch their stories. Lori taught me this trick. So I was trying to figure out, why am I only seeing the same 8 to 10 people's stories, right? She said, if you don't have time to watch all the stories, it's good. We want to know our audience, right? But if you don't, open up your stories app, put your phone down, make your keto coffee, make your kids lunch, do what you have to do, and your stories are running. So they're
watching it for you.
Yeah, so the algorithm's going to show that, hey, Nikki's watching everybody's stories. Let's give her more people to watch. I got more people that I can see now, right?
Yes.
Means that I can engage with them. I can comment on their stuff. Is going to pull them back to me. So engagement, don't forget to engage. Like, we've talked a lot about how to push our stuff out there, how to get ourselves out there, but we want to have that people person. We're still a people person business, you know? And sometimes they say that's the good thing and that's the bad thing.
So it's, we're all in a rush. We really are. Everyone is. I mean, I don't know a person that doesn't have, more time or whatever, but here's the thing. You have to still be intentional. You still have to build relationships, and we can't, like, that Gary, what's his name? Gary V, however you say it, is the one that wrote that book. And he was like, I think we're just so impatient on wanting people to buy. We don't even understand how to build on social media because we don't have the patience for it.
Right.
We can't always be hooking them every time we're talking to them because they're going to go away.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So you can be intentional without really watching them all by just starting your stories and walking away.
Lori, we're just sharing a business strategy. That's all. We're not saying, I mean, don't do it all the time because you're not going to know your audience and you're not engaged. You can't engage when you leave your phone on the counter.
Have your kids do it. There's always a way.
There's always, yeah. I mean, people have assistants.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second, because my kids have had snow days, and I have my 2 oldest are 12 and 14, so they know how to copy and paste, right? So I'm doing all these host to posts, and I'm committing to myself to get 100 messages out a day, and I thought, they're sitting here doing nothing all day long today, so hey, you're going to work for me for an hour. You're going to work for me for an hour for your Fortnite time, or for your game time, or whatever, and you're going to copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. And guess what both of them did for me tonight? They copied and pasted, or today, they copied and pasted. People, y'all, if you have kids, put them to work. If they're young kids, help them to remind you to blitz. Help them to remind you to do things that are outside of your comfort zone. Help them to allow you to be pushed outside of your comfort zone. And if they're older, they can become your little assistants.
Yeah, absolutely. They can help get the word out for sure. So, okay. So 4 minutes. I'm so going to try to keep this in an hour, and I know we might go over just a smidge, but you're worth it. So your content is so fun and good. Okay, so engaging. This is kind of your call to action too out there, okay? This is how we're going to end it. But people are saying, okay, great. So now we kind of have an idea what to put. You're still going to have to tweak this stuff. You're going to have to find your own voice in it, right? Like Lori said, find those things about you that create you, your uniqueness. Like, who are you? What do you like to do? And what defines you? You want to think about the content that you're going to push out, and that correlates with those 5 things. So, if you love baking, then showcase that. I have a gal that makes cakes, and they're phenomenal. And And so she can showcase those. And then we're talking about engagement. So you want to make sure that you're engaging as well. You can thank people on the stories. You can engage on stories. You can engage on the wall, following, unfollowing, all those kinds of pieces go into it. But then what do? We always have to take action steps, right? Because working is not wishing and hoping and praying that people see things that you're doing, right? Because our kids can do that, just post and engage all day long, right? What's the element? It's asking. And so some things that we can do, here's where we tie right back in with Facebook if you're comfortable with it. We can ask for product testers, and we can ask for people to host a post for us. So like Lori said, she's got almost 20 loyal customers this month from host a post. So now I think I know I was in the beginning, right? And I told Lori the other day, I said, okay, I've done a few, and like, we'll be like, let's hold each other accountable to, push out, ask X amount of people, right? Ask 50 people or 25 or however many it is that you want to ask. Knowing that you might ask X number, that doesn't mean that all of them are going to say yes. I mean, I think you might get like a 10% if you're lucky, right? Return within those next few hours. Sometimes you're planting seeds and you might have to go back and ask them again. But I said, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little bit scared about this because it feels uncomfortable. It doesn't feel the same as Facebook to me. It's just, right? Like Facebook's my old jeans and this is my new outfit that I'm still insecure about, right? It looks fabulous on me, but I'm just not quite sure about it, right? And she said, do it scared. And I thought, well, of course, this is why I come to you, right? She said, do it scared. Who cares? You guys, people don't care how you feel on the other end of your message. And like I have said time and time again, because I like to get people on the phone. I can get them on the phone, right? And people are like, I don't want to call somebody. And I'm like, listen, nobody has ever punched me through the phone, right? Nobody's going to punch you through your Instagram. They might block you, delete you. So what? You're following more people to get more followers, right? Bada bing, bada boom. It's good. You just keep moving on. So who are you asking and how are they posting?
Okay, so who am I asking to host posts for me? I am asking people that are looking at my story. And so if you go to your story, and you look at the people that are viewing your story, those are the people that I'm asking to host a post for me. They're looking at me, make my coffee every day, use my products every day, live my life every day. And I'm going to say, hey, girl, I have a favor to ask you. No, I'm not asking you to buy anything, laugh out loud. I have scripts that I think Nikki has and she can share with you all. And they're working. They're working. These are people that are watching my stories. And so if I run out of those, but you're going to build that because as you're building your stories and you're watching other people, people are going to come back to yours. Okay. So that's really important. That engagement factor is really important, like what Nikki was just saying. But you've got to build your engagement to get your viewers up on your stories. There's other ways to get your viewers up on your stories too, which I don't think we have time to talk about all the other stuff, but with hashtags and locations and things like that you're adding. So as you kind of start to layer that, you're going to have an opportunity to push out your stuff a little bit further. But I'm going to look to my stories the very first thing. The second thing that I'm going to look at is people that I am following and that are following me back. Okay. And I'm simply going to go to my Instagram and I'm going to go to my followers. Following. And I'm going to say to them the same thing. Hey, I got a favor to ask of you. Hey girl, I got a favor to ask you. No, I'm not asking you to buy anything. Laugh out loud. And if people come back and they're like, well, who are you? Well, you've been following me. I've been following you. We may not know each other. Normally people don't even ask you that. They're just like, yeah, what's up? What's up? And they're going to say yes, or they're going to say no, or they're going to leave you on red and they're not going to say anything. Okay. And so you deal with it however you want to deal with that. For me, my rule of thumb is if they have left me on red or unseen, whatever that, it says seen, then I'll probably unfollow them. That's your personal choice. But for me, I want to work with people that are going to talk back with me, that are going to engage back with me. And if they're not even willing to engage back with me, I might give them a few tries, but then I'm going to unfollow them. Okay. If you're asking people to do it for and they say no, it depends on how they say no to me. If they say no to me, but oh my gosh, I love following you, like I shared earlier, I'll stay connected with them. And I'll say to them, a lot of people will say, well, if they say no, one of the reasons that they say no is, well, I can't really push out a product I haven't personally tried. And my response to that is, I totally get it, but maybe I miscommunicated that. I'm not asking for your personal testimony. I'm just asking that you help me get the word out. And this is no different than Sephora bringing in a new product to their store using a hashtag and hoping the public will push that out for them. Would you be willing? And if they say no, they say no. Move on. Don't try to pound the pavement there. Just move on. I know I told you this the other day, Nikki. I had someone that was super rude to me. And I would say, historically, Instagram, they're so much nicer than Facebook. I think that was one of the reasons I needed a break from Facebook. People started getting mean. And they're so much nicer than Facebook. And people are going to be mean. That's just the world of social media and the internet. But the reality is you don't have to accept their mean. You know what I mean? You don't have to accept their truth as your truth or their opinion as your truth. In fact, you don't have any, it's none of your business what their opinion is about you anyways, right? So get over that. But when they say no to you, it does hurt sometimes. And this girl was really mean to me. And I thought, you know what? I'm done doing Instagram today. I am just going to take the rest of the day off. And I literally got really ticked. And then I said, you know what? The heck with that. She pissed me off, but she's not going to stall my future. She's not going to stall my progress. I've kicked butt this month. I'm going to continue to kick butt. Screw her. I unfollowed her. I deleted the message so I didn't go back. And I messaged 20 more. I messaged 30 more. And you know what? I ended up signing 2 distributors that day.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and just think if you would let that hold you back.
Yes. Then I wouldn't have had those girls, right? So you have got to make sure that you're not letting people in and take up space for your brain, for your emotions, for your day. Just because they said no doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Move on. There are millions and millions and millions of people using Instagram, Facebook, social media. Go find somebody else. You cannot change somebody's mind.
Absolutely. So are they posting to their wall for you, or are they posting to their stories?
Okay, so I try to get them to post to the wall. I have had a few people post the stories. I haven't seen a whole lot of success with the story thing. They do tag me, and I have them hashtag something from the photo. So I have a cute photo I have a couple of photos that I use. I use a post of a picture of me holding a mug in my face, right? Drinking the keto coffee. I have a picture of a cute little Rae Dunn mug that I did up a coffee with whipped cream and cinnamon on top in front of my Christmas tree, just holding it. It's really cute, really aesthetically pleasing. I have a couple more photos that I use, and I just went to Pinterest and used a couple of coffee pictures. So I'll kind of use those intermittently, so I don't use the same picture all of the time, but I have them post on the wall, and I have them say, my friend Lori's looking for product models for her new skinny coffee. If you're drinking coffee, that's I'm just using kind of an idea of what the script says. If you're drinking coffee already and you're looking to drop some pounds, message her, drop an emoji. And then I'm going back and I'm saving those in collections. So one huge thing for me was, here's an example. So I got, you can go to I don't know if you can see this very well. You can go to your Instagram. Can you see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm doing it backwards.
Oh, a little bit. There you go.
Better? Okay. And so I'm going to go here to my lines, and I'm going to go to, wrong one. I'm going to go to saved, and I'm going to look at all my November host to post. See this? Do you see how many I have? If they don't drink coffee, I'm gonna have them do a collagen. I'm gonna have them do something else. So I don't let them off the hook. I'm gonna say, hey, that's okay that you don't drink coffee. What about posting on a new product that I have, our collagen, or now we have our immunity, and changing up the game a little bit. So that's what I have them do. There's one of my cute little fun coffee posts. But here's what we do. Do you see how in this picture, when they post it, do you see this little ribbon thing here?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to remove it. Let me see if I can remove it. Yeah. Okay. See the little ribbon thing there? If you click on this, you can save to collection, and then you can create a selection. I have November host to post. So that way, at night, when people have hosted a post for me and I've saved them to my collection, I can create my own newsfeed of host to posts. They're all my posts. And I can go when I'm laying in bed at night or whenever my follow-up time is, and I can say, oh, they have 24 likes, and I can follow them. I can, any comments that are commented on this post, I will message them, and I have scripts for that. Nikki, you have those, right?
Oh, I have host scripts, yeah.
Yeah. And I send them the, the message about being a product tester, a product model. And this is working. So here's another kind of fun, cute little picture. Again, these for me, I love home deck. I love already done. So these work very good for me because that's just who I am, right? And that's my home, and that's kind of an inviting environment. But using your face, I think, is really important too. So you can kind of see this one. And some of them, like this one, has 3 likes. Some of them are not going to be your home run, so to speak, but you just never know. So people that say to me, well, I don't think you want me to post for you. I've had people say that. I don't think you want me to post for you because I don't think I'm going to get very many likes. I'm like, I don't care what the likes or the comments are. Take the pressure off. I'm just looking to get the word out. Like let's trim the fat off. Let's get rid of the excuses. Just make the post. And then some of these girls have become distributors for me because they make a post. They say, oh my gosh. Okay, well, they had 5 or 6 comments. I'm getting a couple customers. You might as well just be a distributor because right now you're halfway to your $150 in free product. So I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Yep, I think that's perfect. So host a post. I mean, host a post is working well for me on Facebook as well. And I think it's just pick your platform and do it either way. Now, 2 things that I'll be up in a minute. 2 things that pop up. Somebody said, well, how are you doing that many, right? There's text replacement if you have an iPhone. And I have it. You have it, Lori. Lori's the one that told me about this. Obviously, she's so active on it. But her husband doesn't have it. So you can check in your phone and your Instagram account, and there's like a text replacement.
Okay, so
I think maybe it's if you turn the brightness down on your, there you go.
Okay, so do you see that? Okay, I have 20 messages that I need to get back to. So as soon as I'm off this, I'm gonna send them back. So like this girl says, shoot, what's up? So you can kind of see that, hey, I got a favor to ask of you. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Do you see that? Okay, now I'm gonna show you something really quick if I can show you. Do you see this ... See your house on my saved replies. So then I'm going to choose my save reply. Feel free to say no, but I'm pushing for a huge promote. Like it's just our script, right? And then I push send and I wait for her to respond. So it's at my fingertips, but you can also, if you don't have access to those, because like Quentin's Instagram account doesn't have it, mine does. All you have to do is put them in your notes section of your phone and utilize that. Just go back and forth, copy and paste, copy and paste. Use what works for you. But this, I mean, it's so easy for me to send out those, hey, I got a quick question for you, and then to respond very, very quickly. And if they agree to host a post for me, I flag the message so I can go back and find it. And then I will flag those messages so that way, if I don't catch the notification from Instagram, I can go to those messages and then remember who said they were going to do it for me. I flag them and I can click on their name to go to their Instagram account to see if they actually made the post. If they didn't make the post, I do give them a day or 2. If they don't make the post, then I do respond to them and I say, I do. It's a business, right?
Yeah.
So I say to them, oh my gosh, hey girl, Instagram's been really quirky for me. And in fact, it really was. Last week it went down for like 2 hours and I thought I was devastated. But I'm like, Instagram's been really quirky for me. I didn't ever see that tag. Did you happen to make the post yet? Or is it just me? Like, is it just on my side? And then people are like, oh yeah, I totally forgot. Let me do that right now.
Yeah. So that's perfect. So I love it. So you can do that text replacement. You set that up by just putting in what you want to say, then hitting that message thing and then saving it. That's how you say it. Super simple, super quick. And then you have it. Because another thing too, I think I had a hard time with text replacement on my iPhone in the beginning. So I felt like, oh, wow, is this a little bit robotic? Is it a little impersonal? But here's the thing. We're saying the same thing over and over and over and over again. You might as well save yourself the carpal tunnel and put a quick response or a text or a copy and paste from your notes. So there's always shortcuts for something. So
there's shortcuts and you can add things to it, take things away, make it personal. But again, I'm going to tell you one thing too from the podcast I listened to from Rachel Hollis. She said, I'm almost embarrassed. I'm almost sick to my stomach to tell you all that I actually do work behind the scenes. I actually do set up picture opportunities. I do actually have someone taking a picture of me outside 5 different ways. This is just real life. Like, you see that, you think it's just magic when I put it on there. It's just people come to me. That's not what it is. She said, I have people that now work for me. I have a business set up where people depend on their paychecks to be able to pay their car, to be able to pay for Christmas. I want to run this like a business. So get over yourself and thinking that you're asking people to buy stuff. You're going to have to ask people to buy stuff. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do well in this business, you've got to run this like a business and stop downgrading what you're doing. Stop downgrading that, oh, well, I'll do it when I get time, or, oh gosh, no, I don't want that to look too pushy. The reality is, if you're pushy, it's probably because you're being pushy. So you're probably not being genuine about it. There's a difference between being genuine and a difference between about being intentional. You can be intentional and still be genuine, right? Mm-hmm. You don't have to be creepy girl that they're running away from the grocery store from because you don't know what else to talk about besides our products and our business opportunity. Join me, join me, join me, right? You can actually be a real person and actually ask somebody, hey, girl, Nikki, you would be freaking amazing at this. Why aren't you doing this with me? Mm-hmm. Instead of saying, hey, Nikki, for $99, you can join my team. Hey, Nikki, I know I saw you last week, but hey, did you get that message? I mean, there's a different
it works.
There's a different way to do this, and you just got to be you. And you can't be creepy. And if you feel like you're being creepy, it's because you're being creepy. Right?
You can't have a hamburger stand and not have hamburgers, right?
Right. You can't.
If you're being creepy, it's another Loriism. If you're being creepy, it's because you're creepy. I mean,
that's because you're creepy. That's the truth.
I love it. No, it's so true. So, okay. So, a goal. We didn't even touch on either the It Works office.
Yeah.
I mean, there's another tool, okay?
Okay. So that's it. Y'all, there's so many tools. But if you're not using them, you just know about them. Like, stop using all these excuses not to just do something. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so much out there to help you. Stop looking for all the reasons that are going to help you to get where you are, and just friggin' do it. Take a step, because it's the work. It's not the magic. Nikki's not where she is right now because it's just some magic pixie dust that just landed on her head at night. She signed up for a business, became a millionaire. It doesn't work that way. We actually work our butts off. Yeah. And you should see my bedroom right now because Quentin's doing another Zoom in the other room, and I got wrapping paper everywhere because I had kids that wanted to wrap Christmas presents. It's real life. And if you don't take the day and run it, the day's going to run you, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, where did my day go? Oh my gosh, where did my week go? Your minutes add up. So don't think that you don't have the time. Use your minutes intentionally, and those days will take care of themselves in the weeks, in the months, in the years.
Yeah. You can set aside those intentional power hours for yourself. And somebody had said earlier, well, how do you get that many out a day? And I was like, how do you do that? But then I did take a step back and what does Pam say? Get over yourself, right? Pam will say, well, get over yourself. And I thought, well, self, if you had a regular job, right?
Yeah.
You would be gone. Yeah. My teaching job, I'd have to leave before 7 because I had to get to the building before the kids got there. I mean, that's what teachers do. Sometimes they're in the classroom before the kids show up. They don't want all hell breaking loose. And stay and work for 8 hours till the kids are gone. Then maybe usually stay another hour or two so that I get some peace and quiet to get some prep work done. And then I come home, and sometimes I would bring work home on the weekends, etc. So if you have, that's a 40-hour work week, easy. And if you're just doing this and you don't have an expo and you don't have a wrap party or a sip and sample party, or you're not meeting up physically with a prospect, which means that you just have you at home and this, is there a problem with taking 5 hours out of your day and working 5 hours a day? I mean, I think sometimes we get overwhelmed thinking, what can we do? But even if I work 5 hours a day and I do it 5 to 6 days a week, that's 25 to 30 hours a week that I'm working to make millions. It's a no-brainer. But it is. It's about that self-commitment. It's about discipline. It's about just honing in. And I get overwhelmed, and I've got 5 children, and I've got this like monkey child who she has a black eye. She fell out of a high chair. She's 15 months. She's a climber. She gets on the couch and she jumps. It's like I have to walk around the house 24/7 with this kid. I can't sit down. So I get it. But I do walk around with this most of the time because I'm like, if I can get 3 messages out in this hour and 3 messages out in that hour, at least it's better than nothing, right? We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So we do have to make the time, right? And we do have to do it. So action step, 100 does seem a little bit overwhelming for the new people. It seems overwhelming for the old people. So what if we set ourselves a goal of this week, 10 people a day that you ask to host a post. And if you can push yourself for bonus, go ahead and do it. And then after you get comfortable with interacting, following people, responding to stories, try to keep your stories loaded up this week, to at least 5, 6, 7 every night. Try to load that up. Try to ask 10 people, engage every day, get comfortable with it, and then up it up next week. Then go 15 to 20. And slowly but surely, you will become Instagram whiz like Miss Lori Conway over here, right? It's these baby steps that I think sometimes we get overwhelmed with and we think, oh, we got to go all or nothing.
Well, I think it's that perfectionism of, well, if I can't do it all, then I'm not going to do it at all. Like you join Weight Watchers and you're like, well, I'm over my points for the day. I just had a piece of cake. I might as well eat the whole dang thing,
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same concept. You're sabotaging yourself. So if you're going to do 10, you've got to stay committed to 10 and also realize that about 10%, which means 1, may say yes to you.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your true goal? What do you need to be getting? And what kind of pay do you want to make?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to look at the output that you're putting, but you have to start somewhere. You
Mm-hmm.
have to start with 10 before you can do 20. You have to start with 10 before you can do any more, but also understand that your 10% is what you're going to get back. And so you just gotta weigh what's the goal.
Figure something out. I texted Lori the other day and she was laughing at me, but I went to the local restaurant, sat on the bar side in a booth, and I sat there for 3 hours because for me, I've got little, ankle biters that I have to get away from right now. I work from home with beauty, but I also work from home with these kids that want me all the time. And I hold myself up there. And the first time that I did that, I sent out messages. All I did was host a post. I did not let myself get sidetracked. And that next week, it took 3-4 days for everybody to start filling back in and responding. And I got like 8-9 loyal customers from those 3 hours of sitting there. And so the next week I went to a Starbucks and I did the same thing. And, I just find a location where I can just go have some R&R. Figure out what works for you. Find yourself a pattern. Find yourself something to do. And then the rest will fall in line, right?
Yeah.
For sure. So
be consistent. Consistency is king, for sure.
Absolutely. So, Lori, thank you so much.
Nikki, I love you.
We've learned so much. All right, guys.
I agree. I learned so much too. I so appreciate you. You're amazing. And I love that you go and work in the bar.
Hey, you know what? We just got to do what we got to do. I'm willing to take one for the team.
That's right. That's right.
All right. I love you. Thank you
love
so
you
much.
Guys.
Thanks, guys, for popping on, and I'll get you the recording.
Go kill it.
All right. Take care.